here we go, we jumping off.
Got your radio turned up. B-SideRadio is on.
This is my station right here.
Paragon 7 Studios.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So we've been asked, back on the Lance J Show, we've been asked, Shannon, by our alma mater, Pine Forge Academy, to do a show for Alumni Weekend.
Shut up.
Yeah. They asked us to do a show.
Oh, wow. That's
so they're
crazy.
having virtual Alumni Weekends. So everybody is watching this, not just on Plug TV Global and Roku, but also at Pine Forge. This will air in a couple of weeks at Pine Forge Alumni. So being that this is a sports centric program, now you've come and kind of changed it into more of a head wrap wearing, incense burning, hippie, no shoes type of program.
That's right.
Which has made it infinitely better.
Oh,
but I wanted to get back to kind of some of the lowest common denominator, pot-shotting, sophomoric antics that have made me very successful in my radio and television career prior to your arrival.
Yeah.
So one of the ongoing arguments now, I don't know if you knew, I own, and it says on the desk here, I'm the head of a charitable organization called Advent Sports Network.
Yeah.
And Advent Sports Network, we actually cover sports live. So Paragon 7 Studios is kind of the flagship, and everything rolls up to that. But then I have the Lance J Show, and I have the radio network, but also have Advent Sports Network, which covers games. Now, we cover Pine Forge game.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So before the pandemic, I would actually go to Pine Forge and would announce games, and me and Gian Alexis and Al Johnson. Shout out to Gian Alexis and Al Johnson. That really, they're the voices. I produce a lot of it. But I'll show you some tapes. We've had some really, really good games that we've covered. And we do like a multi-camera game coverage. Crystal Darby has been on coverage with us. Twyla Grider has been on coverage with us. There's so many people, so many fantastic people that have been a part of this program. Yeah. Now, I'm doing another thing you didn't know. I'm shooting 2 documentaries right now.
Oh, my God.
So one is Boom Boombia, a retrospective of the Lloyd Mallory Aeolians.
That's the perfect name.
And I've already collaborated with about 7 or 8 people. So I've interviewed Joel Boyce, I've interviewed John Stoddard, I've interviewed John and April Nixon, I've interviewed Ricky Cord, Makita Hampton. There are a lot of people that I've had a chance to talk to either in video or via radio about this particular thing. The other thing that I'm doing a documentary, and it's called Six Pack vs. Marauders. And it's basically talks about our era of Pine Forge and the intramurals basketball and how we all had our ridiculous clique names and how it's segmented and how the intramural basketball segmented the entire campus and everyone went off and formed their own cliques and had their own crews, and we used to fight in a dorm over it.
Yeah.
You were, now, if I remember correctly, you were in a group called 8 Ball.
That's right.
That's what I thought.
All day. All day.
I don't know who the 8 of you were. I remember some of you.
How you don't remember us?
I mean, I remember you.
We were cool with
I remember
you.
the ones that came in from 97, like the freshmen. But I think you added
that was
people
half of us, yeah.
over time. So I wasn't paying attention to you. I was a year behind me, so I wasn't really. You, Golda,
Mila
Charlize,
came
and
in
Joanne.
Before. Joanne is
the 5 of you I was tight with. The other 3, I don't know who else was in 8 Ball because I think I was gone.
April Nixon, she was Minnie Hall.
I never said 3 words to April at Pine Forge.
Oh, really?
I became friends with April and John at Oakwood during Aeolians, but I never had anything against April.
Right.
And I'm not above taking shots at people. On if I didn't like someone, I would say that I didn't like someone.
Right.
I never had anything against April. We just didn't have any common ground.
Right.
At that particular point in time. But then you had the six pack. Remember, this is a Pine Forge audience, so this is
Yeah.
So you had the six pack was like Myron and JD and Keith Allen and Orville Brissett, Cleveland Bonet. Those guys, mostly 95 guys.
Yeah.
You had the M&Ms. That was a lot of your
remember the
class.
M&Ms. That was my class,
Those were the
yeah.
bad boys. So that was my man Ray G. Shout out to Ray G because I keep in touch with Ray on.
I was like Ray G, Raymond. Yeah. Raymond Lambert.
Ray,
it was Raymond, Lamont.
You had Mont. Calvin.
Lenny Steyer.
I keep in touch with Calvin.
Really?
I do.
Lenny Steyer. Who?
Thomas
Lawson.
I keep in touch with Thomas.
Wow. How's Thomas?
He's doing good. He's like a CEO or something. Like he's
of course he is.
Brilliant.
Of course he
very,
is.
very well.
I think he's the president of our class.
He was the president of your class.
Yeah.
Your class was Hellraisers. But I respected your class.
Were we really
and
Hellraisers?
I loved your class.
I feel like we were mischievous.
I loved your class.
I feel like we were mischievous.
You were Shannon. They came in the first day. They're on the truck. They said 97 is the ish. 98 suck. 96 suck. I mean, that's just your class from day one. I mean, y'all had some.
But that's mischievous. That's not
real
bad. Like I'm talking. Like our class wasn't like stealing cars and stuff like that. Some of the classes
not
that
in
came
high
before
school.
us.
I mean, some of the people in your class graduated to stealing cars and other stuff. I assume, but
I'm talking about high school. We graduated
no.
to a lot more stuff than that too.
But I always respected 97. I always 95 and 97. My class, and people would be mad, but I don't care what my class thinks. So. We were wedged in between two very strong classes. We were not a strong class.
Oh.
96. 95 was a strong class,
95,
and 97
okay.
was a strong class. So 95
Yeah, you're right.
sucked people up. Myron sucked all the
96 was a
oxygen
little
out of
bit.
the room. And and Steve Boyce, those guys, they were very domineering group.
95 was very domineering.
Of people. Daniel Story, Alicia Duncan. This is a very strong class.
Yeah. I think we were rebelling against them.
Your class came in as freshmen saying that y'all smell blood, so y'all like this 96 group is weak. Like we're going right through them, and we're not messing around. And my class was very small from freshman year, and they were fragmented.
Okay.
So just really never had.
And you were a little bit more quiet and laid back. Y'all were very laid back.
Really never had that spirit that I would have liked to seen as the class president. But back to the crux.
Yes.
One of the things about my class, and people would be mad looking into the camera, my class was the best class of basketball players while I was at Pine Forge. My class had the best ball players.
I'm gonna need some names to
97
refresh my
had
memory.
the best ball players, 2 or 3 people. But I'm talking about my class with 11, 12,
and who would you put that on that list?
deep.
Montperry, right?
So that
Uh-oh.
brings into why I started off with the electric company.
Okay, because I need some names from your
Because every
class of
time I
who
do
was
that
good,
for people
because I
that
don't remember.
to people that listen to the show,
Yeah.
every time I play that, they know that I'm about to do a top 5 Dead or Alive. So top 5 Dead or Alive is the Lance J Show power rankings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a top 5 Dead or Alive. These are the best 5 basketball players that were at Pine Forge during my tenure there. And I can't get into all the old people from 83. I know Skip Peace is watching this. I can't get into everybody. Lafayette Treywick and him allegedly scoring 63 points in the game, which I don't believe happened, but he claims that it happened against the Hill School. I don't believe it. But no, I mean, I said Lafayette, I said, look, man, you're only in your mid-50s. So it's not like you're 80 and everyone that played in that game is dead. Like,
Right. People remember.
Receipts.
They should back
I need
it up.
Receipts.
Right.
Now, before I start this, I'm always very open and honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't no superstar at Pine Forge. I didn't claim to be a superstar at Pine Forge.
Right. No, you
I was a 4.0 student.
Yes.
I used to say to the people on the varsity basketball team that would say, hey, James, you'll never get no burn. I would say, look, I'm not getting burned now, but I'm going to get burned on my W-2 20 years from now. And that happened. That actually happened. So I'm not one of those guys that goes back in time and is just like, hey, I was putting up 28 a game, and 10 rebounds, had 3-pointers. I was a very good rebounder.
Okay.
I could run the floor. I was good for about 8 points and 7 boards a game. That was it. That was all he was going to get out of me. Fielder used to yell at me. I used to sit on the bench. I was one of the 4th or 5th people to come off the bench in varsity basketball, and I was fine with that because I just wanted to play and say that I played. So, because I know people are going to rip me and they'll be like, "Well, Lou, you couldn't play no ball. Who are you?"
Man.
I know I can't play no ball. I never thought that I could play any ball. I never, but I'm darn good. I'm darn good at hosting a talk show. So, so get all of the rips out at Lance J Show on Instagram. DM me, curse me out, tell me that I had no ups, tell me that I couldn't shoot, all of that stuff. I understand it. But I'm gonna go into it.
Yeah.
So cue in the music. You gotta cue the music. Mm-hmm. These are the top 5 basketball players that I played with at Pine Forge. Okay. So number 5, Rob Jackson. You remember Rob Jackson? Class of 95, smaller guy.
I do.
Played for the Marauders, played with Brad, and played with...
I do remember him.
Rob Jackson was his older brother, Damien, is a legend dunking on people.
Yes, I remember the name.
Rob was about 5'8", about 100. I thought he was maybe 140, but when I saw the videos that I had for the documentary, he was maybe 125. But had a killer crossover. Oh, wow. Very athletic, great shooter, ran the point, kind of a combo guard, extremely skilled, played with a lot of heart, and he played for the Marauders. Now, the Marauders I was a night walker, and that was the crew. That's me, Josh. That's most of the 96 guys.
Okay.
Me, Josh, rest in peace, Dave Clark, Chip Jones, Brian Godine, Sam Singleton. Larry Perry was in our crew also. Oh, Larry. Rest in peace also. Yeah. And we had some good teams. And one of our rivals was the Six Pack, which was Jeremy and Myron and all of those guys. Yeah. The other rival that we had was the Marauders. Now, we hated the Marauders normally. We couldn't stand those guys. We literally detested them.
That class was arrogant. Our class was arrogant.
We're always fighting them.
Yeah.
I've been in so many fights with Ray Lambert that I can't
even...
Oh, yeah. Me and Ray used to throw hands all the time. And he used to get his licks in, too. And I used to get my licks in, too. But there's a lot of respect. Now I see Ray, like, that's my guy.
Right, of course.
But back in 1994, that if I bumped into him in the hallway, it was going to be a fight. It was going to be a guaranteed fight.
No idea. That's
so
crazy.
Rob Jackson was the best player for...
I remember
the Marauders, and the infamous and what the documentary is about. The Marauders played the Six Pack in one of the championship games for intramurals.
Wow! And
they were losing, and just like what that crew would do, they walked off with the trophies.
What crew? Which crew?
The Marauders. They literally walked out the gym. They said they were getting cheated, and they walked out the gym, and they took the trophies with them.
What?
So Rob was the best player on that team, in my opinion.
Oh my God!
And he was my number 5. Number 4, Myron Edmonds. Now Myron thinks that he's number 1 on this list, and he's not number 1. Myron's a very polarizing person because if he's not on Facebook trolling people about pastoral type stuff or running his mouth about something else, but Myron turned out to be. First of all, I was in Myron's wedding, so Myron's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I love Myron. He's family. Yeah. He likes to tell stories. I played basketball with Myron on many teams over the years. He was good for 22, 23 points a game. But he was taking 30 shots to get 23 points a game. So if I took 30 shots, I'd be getting close to 23 points a game as well. Because Myron was... He was that dude that he ran point, he brought the ball up the court, but he took a lot of shots. Now, so I will say it is factual, and Myron, I know you're watching this. Myron did dunk. He did dunk on all of the New York dudes, like the BKS dudes, like Fitzroy and Carey and all of those. He did dunk on all of those. He dunked. 2 hands.
What?
In a game, I was keeping the score. And that's why I'm doing this to settle some scores from the old days. Because Myron did dunk, and Gian Alexis can verify that. Gian was sitting next to me at the scorer's table. Myron had a lot of game. One thing about Myron, he started school a little bit later. He's 2 years older than me. Even though he's 1 year ahead of me. So I used to tell Myron all the time, I'm like, yo, you were nice when you were 13 and everyone was 11, but everyone else hit puberty and grew, and then they caught up. But much respect for Myron Edmonds and his game. I'm gonna go to the next person, another six-packer, the third best player, and these are These top three were really, really good. It's hard to figure that out. I'm going to go with Kevin Preston. Kevin Preston could play some ball.
He could play some ball.
Me and Gian were announcing a game. We talked about he was one of the best persons to work the baseline ever at Pine Forge. Damon Leggett and some of the old heads.
Damon, he was in my brother's class.
Were mad that we were talking about that. And I was like, look, Damon, you got to simmer down, bro. It's not 1993, man. You're not gonna come to the room and beat me up. God. Kevin Preston had a silky smooth game. Could work the baseline.
It's so true.
Had a 15-foot jumper.
Wow.
Could handle the ball. Could play the post. He was a fantastic player. That's kind of underrated.
I agree.
Because Kevin was very quiet. He wasn't a look at me type of guy. No. He wasn't. Kevin had ups too. Like he would dunk.
Yeah.
He was just a really, really good basketball player.
Yeah.
Really, really talented. And I felt that in '95. Kevin was the best player in that class.
Right.
Kevin was good for 20 points a game also, but unlike Myron, he didn't have to take 30 shots. Like Kevin would only take 12, 13 shots. He could get to the line and get free throws. Kevin was a fantastic player. I have nothing but respect for him.
Right.
Number two, and this was hard for me, but I don't want to be biased. Now, this man was my brother, and I miss him every day. I think about him all the time, and I love this man. But Josh Livingston, rest in peace. Josh Livingston's picture is on the gymnasium at Pine Forge. His jersey is retired at Pine Forge. Nobody will ever wear the 32 ever again, and nor should they. Josh was my man. I love this dude. He was one of the funniest people that I ever knew. Hilarious person, but he was a fantastic ball player. Now Josh was 5'8", 5'9" on a good day.
Wow.
Josh had those calves.
Yeah, I remember them calves.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
he had these calves like The Rock.
Yep.
Or he had bodybuilder. He had a regular body, but with bodybuilder calves.
Yeah. Didn't he walk on his toes a little bit?
And he walked up on his toes.
Yeah.
Therefore, he could really explode and get off the floor.
Yeah, he could.
He was a thick dude. Josh was probably about 195, 190, but could jump. I've never known anyone that was as ambidextrous as Josh. He could use both his right and his left hand. He could dribble with either hand. He could shoot with either hand.
I didn't know that.
And he was the leader of the 96 crew, of the 96. Yeah. I knew that if Josh was on our team, I knew that we had a shot to win. And I remember playing against, we would always have these wars with Oakwood Academy. Oakwood Academy for varsity basketball was our nemesis, our arch nemesis.
I remember that.
And my uncle Leonard Douglas, rest in peace, used to coach Oakwood Academy at that time. Oakwood Academy had better players than we had.
Really?
They had taller guys. Everyone in their layup line was dunking and doing reverses, but we would always beat them.
Wow.
Every time. And the reason that we would always beat them is at Pine Forge, we circled that game on the calendar, and we wanted a piece of Oakwood Academy. We wanted that game more than they wanted it. We knew that we were going to Oakwood alumni down at the old one of the high schools, I can't remember, Grissom High School, and we would play that game in the Grissom High School gym in Huntsville Saturday night of Oakwood alumni, and there would be 3,000 people there. Yeah. And we knew that was our game for the year, and we were going to win that game. We thought about it all year. We practiced for it. we prepared for it. Coach Fielder got us up to where we needed to be, and we would always go out there and put it to Oakwood Academy every single year. Every single year. Yeah. Josh lit them up for 34 in my senior year.
Are you serious?
Josh would light them up every time we played them. Phenomenal player, phenomenal guy, murdered senselessly. I loved him and I miss him every day, but just so glad that they honored his memory and retired his jersey and put his face and name on the gymnasium as they should. And that leads me to the number one player, and I hate 97. You guys are I hate the guys in 97. I like the girls in 97. Y'all were real cool. But I got to give the props to Lamont Perry. Mine was the best player that I played with or against during my time at Pine Forge. Now, one thing I will say is that Mont had the good fortune of being trained by Chris Fielder all summer. Because every year Mott would come back, he'd be in better shape. He was growing. He put on 10 pounds of muscle.
Yes.
And Fielder used to work him out all summer. And we all know that Fielder was baller. Like, Fielder was nasty.
Yeah.
And he was our coach. So he worked with Mott and continued to build those skills. But Mont Perry, I played varsity basketball with Mont Perry. Mott's about 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Was a leaper, a high jumper, would dunk on you, was a great defender. We used to play, we ran a full court press, a 1-2-1-1 full court press. And Lamont was at the top of the full court press, so he was the one pressuring the inbounder. Fielder called it 41 and 42. We had 2 presses. If Fielder came here right now and yelled 41, I would be much slower, but I could get to where I needed to be on the court. Ma got a lot of buckets because he got a lot of steals. He was a fantastic defender.
Yeah.
But Lamont was clutch. He had a great mid-range game.
Yeah.
He was great on the fast break.
So true.
He could catch alley-oops. Lamont was a good passer. And one of the things about Lamont, he was a great leader to play with. Sometimes the best player on the team is arrogant, and kind of a jerk, and kind of chides some of the guys that don't have the athletic talent. But Mott was never like that. Like, he was always encouraging people that didn't get as much playing time. It's just like, yo, Lou, we need you to go in there and put in 5 good minutes, man. Be ready, be ready.
Right.
And I really liked playing with Lamont, and I watched him grow. I was very good friends with Larry, with his older brother, rest in peace. And to watch Lamont at that point in time grow, I always tell this story. I tell Thomas, when we had the intramurals, it was our senior year. Now, we were getting back into my class was very deep with basketball. It was very deep with basketball. We had a lot of talent. Dave was a good ball player. I was a solid ball player. Chip was a good ball player.
Yeah.
Brad Campbell was a really good ball player.
Yeah,
and he was too busy being a pretty boy, but he was a really good ball player. People didn't know how good Brad was. Like, Brad was nasty.
Yeah.
Marquise was a all player.
Yes.
And tall.
Marquise.
James
Gibson.
White was a good Coleman. James White was a good basketball player. All 96.
James White,
we were deep. Even
Yeah.
Corey Harris was a pretty good basketball player. Brian Godin was a good basketball player.
Oh my God!
We had, of course, we had Josh. We had some really good basketball players. We didn't have that one superstar outside of Josh.
Right.
But whereas you guys had, Aaron was great.
Yep.
Thomas was great at the time. Mott was great. So you had like 4. Lenny turned into a really good basketball player.
He did.
Y'all had like 4 guys that really could put up 30 points at any given time.
Yeah.
We didn't have that, but we had like 11 guys that could put up 15 points at any given time.
Right.
So we had always owned 97 in basketball. Because we were older, and we would always whoop up on Aaron and Thomas and Lamont. Me and Josh and Dave, we would always whoop up on them.
I did not know that.
We would whoop up on them in basketball because we were older, more physical. Dave was a grown man at like 15. Like, he was a grown freaking man. 6-pack. Like, the first time I saw Dave with his shirt off, I was just like, yo, I don't think you're supposed to look like that. Now, like, we only kids. Like, Dave was a grown man.
That's so funny.
And we would get physical with them. They had more skill, but we would start pushing them around.
Okay.
And we would beat them. And
went Pistons on them.
We would beat them, and we would go Jordan rules on them. And we would always beat Aaron, Tom, in them. My sophomore year and my junior year, we whoop up on them.
Wow.
We got to my senior year, and they were the first game on the schedule for intramurals. Now, we're in the layup line. I was getting fat. Fielder hadn't got a hold of me, so I'm out of shape.
Oh, God.
Fielder was making us run and get that weight off, but I was out of shape. We were all preoccupied with whatever we had going on.
Yeah.
We were kind of arguing with each other. Like, you have beefs between the crew over stupid stuff.
Of course.
You just get to senior year. I was one of those people, Shannon. I was tired of being at Pine Forge. I didn't cry when I left Pine Forge. I wasn't hugging people. And I was like, yo, I'm ready to go to Oakwood. Like, I'm ready to go to college. Like, I'm done. I've been here. I've done that. Like, it's time to go to college. I want my car. I want to be able to come and go as I please.
Yeah.
I love y'all. I missed y'all, but I was ready to go.
Yeah.
We get in the layup line. Aaron Baker grew over the summer. Diesel. Dunking the layup line.
He was a grown man, I think, as a freshman.
Mott's throwing the ball off the backboard to himself. Lenny's in the layup line. Like, all of these guys, they're just in the layup line dunking and taller. They all got taller. They all look like they had worked out all summer and all of this stuff. I remember turning to Josh. I was like, yo, we about to get blown out. And they proceeded. That's exactly what happened. They proceeded to go out and blew us out by like 30 points. Like they had been waiting to grow and to supersede us in basketball. And that day they abused us. Like the class of 97, like the guys in your class, they absolutely abused us. And they took power from us that day. They were the basketball class after that. Like they had surpassed us. And at that point, Shannon, I didn't even care anymore because I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get college scholarships. Right. I was just like, man, I don't even care. I was just like, they're better than us. After the game, I told them, I was like, you guys got it, man. You guys are better than us. To me, the season was over at that particular point in time. So a nice trip or two down memory lane. What did you enjoy watching basketball at Pine Forest?
Oh my God, yes.
Because you grew up there, so you watched your brother play too, and all of that stuff.
I watched my brother play, and not only that, I was a product of Detroit. I lived in Detroit during the Detroit Reign, so I got into basketball then. I loved Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumas, and we used to literally go to the games, and my brother and my father taught me the game, All right. So I fell in love with basketball then. So absolutely, I was there on the, watching the games that my mom would allow me to, skip piano lessons to watch. But yeah, I was a huge fan. So yeah, I remember, absolutely. I remember exactly like the way you guys moved. I remember exactly how different players moved on the court. Yeah, it was beautiful to watch. So
we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with one more segment, a little bit more of the Lance J Show. Shout out to everybody at Pine Forge Academy watching this on the alumni. You got
97.
You got 96. You got to show love to the 96. We'll be back after these messages.
Listening to the Lance J Radio Network. James Lewis.
Quote, fame in flat earth world is not without its pitfalls. However, as Sergeant Standing, Sergeant is the last name of one of the individuals that's organized this convention. As Sergeant Standing in the UK movement demonstrates, he was booked to speak at several conferences before he gave interviews to the BBC and Good Morning Britain, in which he espoused his belief that Earth exists under a dome like a snow globe. I can never get through this segment. These interviews reflected, quote, badly on the community.
Rampage, the first lieutenant of the Universal Flipmo Squad.
I'm going to keep it 100. I really don't care if the world is flat.
Flat, round, square.
I just, you wake up every day. You breathe every day.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Network.
Dave & Buster's unlimited video gameplay and unlimited wings for just $19.99 every Thursday, Sunday, and Monday is now extended through December 17th. All you can eat wings and endless video games for $19.99 only at Dave & Buster's.
Listen live online.
FreeAsianRadio.com.
Yo! Ha! Okay, I got one more idea. Ritter spoons. Yeah, see, we serve them soup for free. Rent them spoons. Yeah. What's up, baby?
Did I tell you had one more time?
Yeah, you did.
Did I tell you had that? Well, guess what?
What's up, baby?
Look at me. Time's up.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Network.
Hip hop and R&B.